Are we live? Oh, says
Yep.
we're live.
We are.
Hopefully our volume's all right. Somebody will
They'll let us know.
tell us if it's not.
They
Yeah.
always do.
Sorry for the delay, everybody, but surprise guest Paul Sporer and I were just talking about baseball a little bit before we went on the air, and then we realized we were running. People started saying hello, and I was like, oh, I guess we shouldn't talk about the Pirates and Royals in private anymore.
We should just do it on the stream.
Yeah. So in summary, I think we were saying Jared Jones
Stud
is a dude.
Mm-hmm.
The Pirates are a little bit like the O's, but not as deep of a system, and who knows what their ownership's going to do, right?
Like a baby O's a couple years behind.
And then you said they're almost like the Royals. The Pirates and Royals are similar in that they have a lot of talent and could be good, but also they could screw it all up.
Exactly. Ooh,
and I think mainly from ownership, right? I think that would be my main concern with both teams.
Ownership hamstringing the front offices as Colton Cowser rips a homer and continues to fight his way into the everyday lineup.
Having a monster week against me in fantasy this week. I'm against Cowser.
He's on my bench, which kills me, dude. Because like I had him, but I didn't start him, and
who would have? You shouldn't have started him. He wasn't playing that much. He wasn't doing anything.
Sense exactly, and that's why it's in the logical part of my brain says you can't get upset about that, and you can spin it as a positive. If you have guys on your bench doing well, that means you have a deep team. Like you got players playing all over the place. It's just gonna happen. So, but I love Cowser. But yeah, back to the original point there. KC, Pittsburgh, teams on the rise. Will their management groups trust their front office groups to kind of maybe get some pieces this year if it really makes sense? You never mortgage the future for a long shot, right? That's what makes it so hard if like you're in the NL West, because you're up against the Dodgers. So even like your best season, they're sitting right there, probably like right there with you. And it's just like, oh my God. But in those centrals, those are both really winnable, right? There's no clear runaway favorites. They need to pounce if they're in it in the summer, and maybe give up a prospect or two for the right pitcher. Maybe not a reliever. I don't like those deals because those relievers just pop up out of nowhere and they're so hit and miss when you trade for them. But if you can get like an everyday piece that's like 27 years old, those two teams probably really need to do it, depending on what their status is in June or July.
Also, not only relievers, but also don't trade for starters that turn into relievers like Jack Flaherty. That's also bad.
Exactly. And we're seeing again, you know, you and I have chatted about him, and I'm like, I've always liked him as a pitcher, so like I'm rooting for him. Yeah. And so like we both got him on our favorite teams, and then it did not go well for your O's. And for my Tigers, I'm like, I hope this goes well, but there's definitely a path where it doesn't. And we saw that against Oakland. Like right away already, he has the blow-up start. How's he going to rebound? Is he going to limit the blow-ups? Is it going to be 4 starts between every blow-up? Or 2, and that's kind of going to be the decider of how good Jack Flaherty is this year.
Yeah, I was excited when the O's got him, and I was bummed with how it worked out because I've always liked him.
He's so cool. Like he's just a good pitcher, and it's fun to watch him succeed. He's smart about the game. Like he really thinks about pitch modeling and how to better himself. And I always respect players like that. That doesn't make them all good. Like they can be an ace or like, you know, just being smart about your game doesn't mean that you get to reach the heights of Garrett Cole, right? Like that's not, that doesn't unlock talent. Like Brandon McCarthy was really smart about his game, and he was a darn solid pitcher, but his cap was like a 3, like a mid-tier guy, right? And so guys, you know, sometimes I have to correct myself on that because I think, oh, he's really smart about the game, so he can turn himself into an ace. It's like, well, no, not if his arm talent isn't there. Analytics can only take you so far.
I know, and it seemed like at one point early in Flaherty's career, the arm talent was there. And injuries, etc. And then also I think not reaching his ceiling. That maybe I think a combination of things. It was like, man, he's had this talent before, and he's like got the curiosity to better himself. Like, maybe when he comes to the O's, this is going to be the O's moment when they're like, oh wait, the O's are going to be one of those teams that fixes pitchers too. I was hopeful for that.
Yeah,
moment.
We turn a guy on right when he gets there.
It didn't happen with him, unfortunately. It could happen with other. It's happened with guys. It's happened with Cano and other guys, but I was hoping it was going to happen with Flaherty because I really like him, but it did not. But I hope it works out for your Tigers.
I hope so. So far, so good. The number one thing I'm looking at, if you're looking at anything in 12 innings, is the 2% walk rate. Really controlling the zone. Good. Yeah, and with a 14% swinging strike rate. So the swings and misses are up while still living in the zone. You just got to love that. So I'm excited about Flaherty, and hopefully it goes well because dude has talent. He really, really does.
I didn't set up my my O's game, I just kind of like put it down in the corner of my desk so it's way over here. And I was
So
alarmed.
You got like turn around.
Yeah, the catcher was leaving home plate and the umpire was leaving home plate and Gunnar looked concerned.
He did, yeah, I looked away and saw Gunnar too. I was like, wait, what's going on?
Is Whitlock hurt? Like, are they worried about him being? Was the trainer out there?
Yeah,
right
there.
He
took a false step.
Yeah, okay, that's what it is.
It's crazy how quickly they will run out. Like they can't let anything go, and I get it.
Yeah.
But it's like every little move like that, they're like, okay, you got to prove to us you're still healthy. And I get it, though, because players are dumb. Like, they'll fight through shit.
Right. They'll be like,
pardon me, where are you on swearing? I'm sorry. They'll fight through stuff.
You can swear.
And,
there's no rule. Yeah.
Okay. Just, I'm in somebody else's house, and I got to be mindful.
Yeah. I don't, we have no rule against it. We're not for or against it.
I'm not going to be hammering F-bombs. I just wanted to know.
You can. No one's going to find you if you do.
I can control. It's not like I'm a child who like has, cursing Tourette's or something. Not that children have curse. I don't even know what that means. I do not understand Tourette's. I should not make jokes about it. But it's not like I can't control my swearing. That will not be difficult. I just want to know where you stand on it.
This is a welcoming environment. You bring yourself however you want to talk.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. What are you drinking there? What is that?
It's water out of a water bottle.
Okay. Oh, okay. I saw the decals on it. I was like,
yeah, just a highly decorated
giant
bottle.
fancy can. Yeah. Okay. I see it now. Okay. Cool. Can we talk about before I'll show you some out of the park stuff. I've been messing around with the sim.
Okay.
With the O's, just kind of like sat down and was like, not like a sim I'm like highly hyper focused on, but just kind of messing around. I can show you how it's been going. I'm only like 2 months into it, so I just started messing around it last night. But can we talk about the Jackson Holiday thing for a second?
Of course we can, and how they didn't have to be that transparent.
I think I figured out like what the actual. I think this was actually the plan all along, and you can tell me if this is crazy.
I think it had to be, but go ahead.
Okay. Oh, okay. So
I'm coming in an agreement with you, but I'm just make the case.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I feel like most things I've read and most things I guess I've read or few people I've talked to have not been in agreement with me or have been confused. And I was confused at first too. But so they called him up the day before they needed to for him to still get a full year of service time, right? Mm-hmm. So they're eligible for that draft pick bonus if he finishes in the top 2 of Rookie of the Year. So it was never service time thing, right? They weren't manipulating service time and punting on that draft pick. They want that draft pick, and he's going to get the full year of service time. So then it's like, well, what is the point of sending him down for that 10 days if it's not service time? And I legit think that they realized that 7 of their first 11 games were against lefty starters. And we're like, let's not bring him into this. Let's let him go down for 11 days down to Norfolk, crush the ball, be pissed off. We'll pay Tony Kemp $1 million to come in for these 11 games.
Chill, yeah.
And then once we are on a string of righties, we're going to bring him up. He's going to be white hot, and he's going to be facing righties, and we're off to the races. I honestly think that was their plan all along. Do you think that's crazy?
And that worked. No, I don't think it's crazy at all because, initially when you look at it, you're like, well, are they calling him up right at the deadline? No. Then the first article that you read, if you read an article about it, was like, no, they are still in contention for the PPI pick, the prospect promotion incentive, which means that they won't get that extra year. Because I thought, we're looking at like a Chris Bryant situation all over again.
Right.
Instead, you're looking then, well, then what? Did they really think he needed 10, like not even 10? He got 10 games. Like, did 10 games really fix the issues that he had? And listen, he did strike out a lot in spring, and y'all have so much talent that I was like, okay, that's fine to move him down. And I thought they were going to do the timing thing. I thought they were going to bring him up in like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And get the extra year and just say, well, he struck out 31% in spring. That's what we had to do. But instead, the next thing that you can look at is, well, where were they starting? What was it looking like with the start? And like you said, all those lefties line up. Can he hit lefties? We don't know. But teams are so reluctant to trust young lefties against lefties, which I hate, by the way, because how are they going to get better if they don't face them?
I agree.
But do you want to put them into the test at age 20 right away and possibly risk like that 0 for 29 type start?
Right.
And does he have the mental fortitude to get out of it? Yes, but it becomes a thing, and it's just brutal, especially to begin a season, like when he comes up at the very beginning. So I think they had to have been thinking about the lefties once they called him up before the extra year kicked in.
There's a fun fact about the Norfolk Times.
That's amazing. That is truly insane. Read that one out for anybody that's just listening.
Yeah. The funniest thing, McCat 5, the funniest thing about Holiday getting called up is his 1,100 OPS was 6th best on the Tides. Yeah. Every prospect that they sent down, who I think all of them, Holiday was the only one that surprised me. Everybody else I knew was starting in Norfolk. You could tell by the way their roster was made up, but all of them are pissed off. Like, not in a bad way. They're basically just like,
that
I'm
chip
going
on
to play
their shoulder
so well
that
you are going to be, I'm going to force your hand. Like, do you want to keep running Ramon Urias and like whoever out there? Because like I'm down here and I'm crushing it.
Exactly.
Like, and I love it. Like Kobe Mayo, Kerstad,
Kyle Stowers even dominating.
Stowers is murdering the ball.
I like him, by the way. He's been a guy I'm a fan of. Like 26, he's almost in the wrong org right now. Like that team is so deep. Like he's somebody who could get traded at the deadline where it doesn't hurt them.
Agree.
But they get like a real piece for it because the team's going to be like, yeah, we'll take Stowers. We're going to start him every day. You guys are crazy deep.
Agree 100%.
So
he's
their
almost
depth is
expendable,
nuts.
but he has value for sure.
Exactly. And so I think they could really get something from. I'm a huge Kerstead fan. You know who really needs to be looking over their shoulder right now is Cedric Mullins.
100%. If anybody had 80% of his defense in center field,
it's over. It'd already be over. Yeah.
But I think Kauser is the only guy that I think might be able to do it, and I don't think doesn't seem like they're sold on it.
They're not, and nor necessarily should they be. It's kind of like when the Reds let Shin-Soo Choo play center. I think Kauser will be a bit better than that, but it's like we're getting so much bat, we're just gonna ride it.
Yeah,
and they just kind of went for it, you know. So, and I think Kauser could round himself into a quality defender. I don't know if he's got the athleticism. I mean, he's pretty fast though. He's pretty fast.
He is.
So they might just let him learn on the job because his bat needs to be in the lineup at least every day against righties. And, you know, with Said not being a switch hitter anymore, it's a couple lefties fighting, and I'm going to favor Kauser.
No, I agree. And I think this is the third straight game that Kauser started over Hayes in left. So Hayes is almost like a short side platoon guy.
I was going to say that is becoming a short side platoon. Hayes Hayes is only like a little bit of an older Stowers. Like Stowers has more power, but like that same sort of vibe. And he's already seen what happened to him. He's kind of another guy that could get traded where they barely feel the pain of it, but they get something real back.
Agree. I mean, you know, giving up Hall and Ortiz was not nothing, but to the O's, it was kind of nothing. Though.
And like, that's why people downed that deal from Milwaukee. And I'm like, y'all just don't understand the value of Ortiz and Hall.
Yeah.
Just because it didn't affect the O's doesn't mean the Brewers didn't get an everyday shortstop and a really intriguing lefty arm that could start, and it should at least be a badass reliever.
You weren't getting Mayo or Basayo for 1 year of Corbin Burns.
That was the problem.
Wasn't
if
happening.
Cease, I think maybe gets somebody like that because he's 2 years.
Yeah, agree.
So I think they could have centerpieced that, but I agree. Once you realize that Burns is just the 1 year, you got to take your expectations down. But Ortiz, 6 years of a shortstop who can, you know, move around to second or third, that means too, and of a bright lefty arm that has had injury issues but has upside, that's pretty good. That was a pretty good deal. And I love it for y'all. Burns is awesome.
The 6 year WAR window, it's the Brewers in a landslide. But like who can, but it doesn't matter the O's.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because they've got players that are better than both those guys.
We got to find something we don't agree on.
Okay.
We're just like, yep, I agree. That's great. I agree again.
Sorry, we both have such brilliant takes.
I know. We're just, I mean, it's not often I run into somebody as correct as me about everything, but Paul.
It is
we
fun.
Are we're just about right about everything. Wow. Here, I'll load up this game.
Okay.
Let me set up my windows better.
No
While
problem.
It's loading, as a Tigers fan, we talked about the O's a while, but how are you feeling about the Tigers start?
I mean, I love the pitching, and I came in loving the pitching. The bats are, you know, worse than I expected. I did not expect the offense to like really be a bright spot. But they can't be worse than the league either. Like the team's going to struggle if they're like worse than league. 7-4, can't be upset about that after 11 games. The pitching has really carried. And I still think the top half of the lineup can be pretty good with Meadows, Green, Torque, Carp, Keith, and Canha. And even Urshela, I really do like him. You're punting 2 spots, but it's catcher and shortstop. Like those are the 2 spots that you're supposed to. If you're going to punt spots, right? Nobody wants to punt bat spots. But if you do, it's got to be up the middle. And how about the two most important positions? So like there's a world where this can work and be like the 18th, 19th ranked offense, but it's got to get somewhere up in that range to really propel this pitching too, or else we're going to kind of waste the pitching.
Yeah. Yeah. Now with catcher, so I like the Tigers. I keep up with them a little bit, but not like their system. I don't know as in depth as the O's.
Yeah.
Now is Dylan Dingler like a dude who they think could come up and catch? Like where's he at now? I know him originally from Out of the Park and then following him a little bit in real life. Where is he going to be like a dude who could catch for them?
I certainly think he has the catching piece.
Okay.
But his bat looked like it had more juice. Honestly, and I think even the Fangraphs write-up of him compares the two. But he's kind of like Jake Rogers.
Okay.
And so, you know, he can catch every day for you, right? Like there's value in that. He's got a big arm. So if and when we do go to automated balls and strikes, his player type is actually going to start to be more valuable, where this framing maybe is a little bit lighter, but the arm is huge. Well, now you don't really need to frame because you can't really trick the sensors, you know? So it's going to be like arm first from a defensive standpoint, but you're going to need to be able to hit too, because now they can give back some of that, you know, all that defensive value that like the Hedgeses and the Mathises of the world bring in, that goes away now. So now you got to bring something other than just throwing. Now, stealing has happened more, so catcher's throwing is important, but if you can't bring a bat, that's a problem. And so that is where Dingler lacks, is definitely with the bat.
Okay. Thank you for that Dylan Dingler update. It's been like, you know, he hasn't really been on my radar.
I had some high hopes for him, but they've dimmed a bit. Again, I think he's a major league catcher at some point, and he'll be up. But you know, he's got a lot of strikeouts in his game. He takes some walks. So again, your classic kind of double-digit power, decent OBP relative to his average, but the average is so bad that it can only do so much for the OBP type deal. Where he hits like 200 with like a 280 OBP. So it's an 80-point split, which isn't bad, but it's still sub 300, which is horrendous.
It's an 80-point split, which is bad, yeah. But sub 300 tends to not be good.
Is terrible. You got to be bringing a lot of catching. Like we'll play that. You know, you and I will play that in a sim when it's Austin Hedges back behind the dish, bringing a ton of framing value.
Right. A 19 WAR season with like a 50 OPS plus. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You mentioned automated balls and strikes. So let's go on that tangent for a second before we hop into the sim. Do you think that will happen at some point? And when?
Yes. 2-3 years. Like it could be next year. I mean, I don't know. They usually test these things out in the minors and then bring them if they like them. Yeah. Well, they keep doing it in the minors. I watched it in play at the Arizona Fall League. Why not? I mean, you know, the first gripe was like, oh, it's going to take an umpire's job. No, it's not. They still need one back there to say what it was. So that's fine.
Right.
And I mean, they'll be hated less, right? I don't know. I see it as a win for them. They get to do less work. Calling balls and strikes seems so unbelievably hard, by the way. Like I know we rip on them because it's their job. But like that's an impossible task. I could never do. My eyesight is so terrible, and these dudes like do a pretty darn good job.
Really good job.
Overall, they're egregious calls. They go viral. We know, but like overall, they're amazing, dude. It's insane. Like way better than I don't know, like NFL refs. But also, that's an impossible job. They got to see these physical specimens committing these infractions in nanoseconds and crap. Nah, get out of here.
I can't even imagine how many calls I would miss if I called balls and strikes for a major league game.
Unbelievable.
It would be like the worst.
50%.
Easily. Yeah. And Foolish Baseball had a video within like the last year where he basically talked about how umps are better and better at balls and strikes.
Yeah. Like they keep getting better. So like, you know, we gripe and we highlight the worst of the worst, you know, Angel Hernandez, Joe West, whatever.
Yeah.
But overall, like they do a really good job. And there's a reason why the comically egregious calls go viral. They're rare, thankfully. But yeah, some of them are like down the middle and you're like, wait, ball, what the heck happened? And they probably brain farted. And I don't know why they can't just change that, especially if nothing else has happened.
Yeah.
Right? Like we have other replay. Obviously, you don't want to get hung up replaying everything, but one that was like that egregious, I feel like something should step in. I know some people are like, I like the human element. And I'm like, I don't know. I like calls to just be right.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I like the calls to be right. I'm with you. There was a I can't remember the picture now. I think it was a recent John Boy video that popped up on my feed where the ump missed a third strike, like just an obvious third strike, and the pitcher got out of it, but the ump came up to him after and he's like, hey, he was basically like, my bad, I missed that.
I saw that. I love that.
Yeah,
that makes me feel so good because like, okay, you know, sweet, I appreciate that, and that happens, and I respect that. It's when they act like Joe West, like I never done anything wrong in my life,
the old ump show.
Yeah, and I hate it. You know, and like that breeds the hate for his job, not him. I don't hate him as a person, you know, let's not take it too far, but like that makes me hate him at his job because he doesn't care. He wants to just be the captain of the field or whatever. And it's like, it's not about you, man. No one's coming to see you. They'll come to see your country music shows, Joe, but no one's coming to see you ump.
Yeah. So I just got like weird cross sound there for a second. But I agree that no one is coming. It was like some videos started playing in my background. I had to get it real quick. Sorry if it came through.
No,
but we're also in agreement about umps. So yeah.
You're still trying to find something we disagree on?
Yeah. No. I'm fine. I'm just gonna point out that we just keep both being right. And
we are geniuses.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's just amazing how right you continue to be. That's all. So yeah, okay.
It is stunning.
Let me show you this sim. So I just this isn't like a long sim. I think somebody asked this isn't like a big sim. I'm just kind of playing around. I was just like last night, I just started messing around. And
okay, is this the team reveal stream was asked?
No. Yeah, no. Just fun. Just fun with Paul Sporer. So this the team's kind of a neutral. Like if the O's in real life were 36 and 33 in June, like that's kind of like, all right, like when are you gonna find that other gear? So that's where we're at right now. We haven't found another gear yet. Now, you know, we're -2 of our Pythagorean according to our run differential, but I've made a couple smaller moves. Here, I'll show you what they are.
Okay.
Let's see here. This is just like coaches, blah, 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 blah. Coaches. Mateo got hurt.
Poor Mateo.
Which actually kind of sucked because having somebody who is right-handed and can play shortstop and center field, I was actually like,
that's pretty nice, actually.
Yeah, which they're counting on him to do this year. So that was a bummer.
Yeah.
But so I did trade Tony Kemp on April 23rd.
So Andy Ibanez to hit lefties?
Yeah, basically, I needed a righty infielder, and I threw in a pitching prospect he's 25, so he's a little older, but he's in AAA.
Yeah.
The O's drafted him in the 16th round in 2021. I don't know who this guy is. I've heard of
neither.
Probably 6 O's prospects, you know, just following them. I have not heard of Peter Van Loon.
Well, good for him. He's doing some things. He's not
bad. He's a usable arm. But yeah, I got Andy Ibanez back because I needed it. Our team was 2 left-handed. So I traded Ibanez. I mean, I traded Kemp and got Ibanez, and Ibanez has come out and only had a 137 WRC plus for me.
Oh my goodness.
So he's been doing things.
Is he just playing against lefties?
I think that's right. I think I only have him. No, he's playing against righties too.
Oh, he's crushing them against righties. Yeah, he's been great.
I didn't think he was playing against righties.
When he's going to face righties in the midst of.
Yeah, that's true. You know, but that was a lot of. He had more righty at that. So
that's true. So that seems that he is starting somewhere.
All right. So then I was so finally on May 16th. So I was like, so I wanted to get rid of Kemp so I could call up Holiday eventually. Because I didn't, but Holiday was like, he had started slow in Norfolk, so I didn't call him up right when I made that trade. But when I wanted to call him up, I was like, all right, Yamon Urias is on the chopping block, not Ibanez, because Ibanez was hitting.
Yeah, because Ibanez has been raking.
Yeah. Urias was not. The 68 WRC plus. So I traded him and a minor league pitcher named Bradley Bramer, who I also have not heard of.
Me neither.
12th round pick of the O's in 2022.
We've heard of a lot of guys, but we haven't heard of these guys, huh?
Yeah, no, but I got back an 18-year-old minor leaguer.
Oh, sweet.
Who doesn't look bad.
Oh no, I mess with that profile.
Yeah, I don't really know. Like the Yankees. So the Yankees were the only one offering me anybody for Urias. They're offering me like 4 guys who were terrible and I had no interest in, and then like randomly this guy.
You're like, we don't need that chaff, but this guy right here, this guy from Cuba, 18. Yeah, this is a sick pickup.
Yeah, I don't really, again, I haven't seen a lot of trades like that. I think the trade engine's great in general, and I think the improvements in the last few years have been amazing to it. But I'm still figuring out what settings I'll play on this year. But and this one kind of surprised me that it was available. So
yeah, that's a pretty good prospect that like we're always going to chase. I'm looking up Peter Van Loon, by the way. He had a rough season at AA last year.
Oh no, okay. Okay.
After like doing something, he was okay at or single and high A, and he still had a 20% strikeout minus walk. It looks like he gave up 2 homers per 9. So I don't know where y'all play in AA, if that was him or the environment or a mix of both.
I don't think Bowie's crazy hitter friendly.
I don't think know it to be.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't
2
know
homers per 9. That's true. I truly don't either. So I
feel like I would know if that was a thing.
I mean, that seems like if it was like 2.0 and that was acceptable, then that'd be like a Cal League-esque type of area.
Right. Agree.
So, and I don't know it to be.
So where is he this year? Is he in Bowie again?
Seems like he might be hurt, because then he played in the fall league, played even worse, and now he has no stats for this year.
Oh, all right. Well,
so Peter Van Loon,
not as promising in real life as his profile looks in this.
Maybe took a jump this year in your sim there to kind of boost him. Let's see. Yeah, I got nothing.
All right. Well, hey.
Old PVL. All right, what else did we do?
I don't think much else, man. I had the draft. I signed some guys. I drafted. Much to my chagrin, I had to draft a high school hitter in the draft, 22nd overall.
That's kind of a dope player, though. I mean, he doesn't have much power, but
he looks like he could be a really good hitter and could play center field, and he's got the work ethic and intelligence. But I just always prefer a college hitter.
I know. That's probably why you have more success in the draft than I do. I take high schoolers all the time like an idiot.
Yeah, high schoolers scare me, just like kind of like real life. I'm very Michael.
I'm afraid of getting bullied by them.
What'd you say?
I'm afraid of getting bullied by them.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. High school's rough, man.
They take it out on boomers like me.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm a bit like Mike Elias in my drafting strategy, though. College bats are the way to go. But, like, dude, like, that's 9 of the first 10 picks were college bats. There were no college bats left for me.
Oh, they ate them all up. That's pretty good pick, though.
And then my second round pick, this was like the first round, like supplemental.
Oh, yeah, 32nd overall.
Yeah. I think this is... I don't know if if it's a competitive balance pick or the gunner pick. Because I think in real life, the gunner pick is 32nd overall. By the gunner pick, I mean the one they got for him getting the year of service time and winning Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Because the O's have like 3 of the first 35 picks in the draft. I don't know if anybody's tuned into that.
But seems unfair.
It's not going to stop. It's not stopping anytime soon.
No. They're going to be Houston East. I mean, they're going to be like like this is about to be a window, man. I don't think this is going to flop like the Cubs one. Sorry, Cubs, you won, right? So you won. You got your dub. I'm not hating, but they are upset about it. Like I'm not even like trying to be a hater on the Cubs. Like they're even like, what happened to our dynasty? Like,
that window didn't happen. They got the title, but the Houston-esque window did not happen.
Well, and you know what it was? And like they got the win. So I'm not even going to like crush the Glaber deal. But think about not having Glaber, Cease, and Eloy.
Right.
Instead getting the Chapman run, which they needed, and then Quintana, which I didn't hate the deal at the time either. So
what was the Quintana deal? Remind me.
Cease and Eloy.
Cease and Eloy for Quintana.
When he was like when he's a bankable 200 inning guy, like he's still a solid pitcher. I like Jose Quintana. Yeah. And at the time I remember defending the deal because I'm like, they're getting a workhorse. Now there is that breaking point. Like, when does a workhorse stop getting credit for their workload, and then it starts to become a problem?
The Kyle Gibson effect.
Yeah, because like it's trite of a phrase as it is, like, you're broke until you're not, right? It only takes one pitch. Nobody. There's like unicorns out there, right? But they're rare. That just they never break.
Yeah.
And so, were they right to take him after 4 straight 200 inning seasons? Again, I thought it was fine at the time, and they got 3 straight 32 or 32 start seasons out of him. Like, he was a solid mid-rotation guy, so they didn't get crushed in that deal. But imagine if they had turned Cease into something, even the guy he's been, which has been volatile but interesting.
Yep.
And then Eloy, who knows what his health would have been with them? He hasn't really panned out. So at least they don't look back at it like that, like, oh my God, Eloy's an every year all-star. Cease was a pretty good pitcher and just got traded for a boatload of pitchers. But you do wonder what the window would have been with Gleyber, Eloy, and Cease. And if Addison Russell wasn't Jagoff.
Yep.
Like, just a bad dude. Like,
yeah, they're like, I guess like their supplemental like second wave just never came because of those things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you had one that's like fluke, the Addison thing, turns out to be a D-bag. But then the others you traded. And again, I'm not even trying to undo the Gleyber trade. They won, man. And Chapman, you could say another reliever could have done that. Chapman's still one of the scariest forces in baseball today, let alone at that time when he was still a force, like a top tier force. So I don't even regret that. But it is a fact of life that is part of why they didn't have that next jump when Bryant comes back down to earth. Now Gleyber's hitting his stride, so he kind of takes that mantle, and they just never supplemented.
Yep.
But they got the dub. So you can only be so upset about it. As a Tigers fan, we had a big run from like 06 to like 14 or whatever, made it twice and didn't win.
Yep. Yeah, I as a I'm a pretty big hockey fan, Caps fan.
Mm-hmm.
And they, they've had a great, 15 to 18 year run in the Ovechkin era.
Yeah.
But they've only gotten 1 cup, which,
feels light.
But like, it's still been an amazing run. But like, if you would ask me 15 years ago how many cups are going to be, I'd be like, more than 1.
For sure.
Yeah. So,
and that's why you have to always appreciate when your team does win, because it is so hard.
And windows close quickly.
Exactly. And they can evaporate on you. That's why I never take anything from the Dodgers win. I don't call it Mickey Mouse. First off, I advocate for them when I say it was a harder run. There was more playoffs, which that's the flukiest part of it.
Right.
And so, like, people can do that to clown them or whatever, and it's just silly trash talk or whatever. But I don't put less into it. I always say the only thing I would have really put less into if a team won it was if some team came out of nowhere to make the playoffs that we never really thought would have made the playoffs in a 162, and then they like steamroll, like if the Rockies had won or some crap, then you could say like, oh, Mickey Mouse. But the Dodgers, the best team, won, and they would have made the playoffs in a 162 or a 60. It didn't matter. That wasn't what, like, they didn't sneak in, and then they took over the toughest playoff gauntlet that we've seen in terms of how many rounds you have to play.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's just like, when your team wins, treasure it, because you don't know. You can talk about windows and dynasties, and even this Orioles one that's coming looks great, but you never know. So
I want to show you, I'll show you a little bit of the sim.
Yes.
But first, we're going to get to this question, though, after that, about what young O's player would be the first to get a 9-figure extension. So we'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
But let me show you a little bit more about these 36 and 33 O's, where we're at.
I'm interested.
So Santander. So I got Ward. I know this is a different setup. I got Ward, WRC plus,
I like
PS plus here. So
this is fantastic.
I'm sorted by WRC plus here.
Mm-hmm.
So Santander's killing the ball in his walk here. Ibanez, the greatest trade in O's history.
I mean, that's been an amazing deal.
Mountcastle's hitting the ball. Kyle Sowers, who I thought was just going to be, I thought he was just going to be on the team for like a little while until I was basically like, I'm going to let Cowser cook for a little bit down in AAA.
Oh, he's
and then
not
bring
even
him up.
up.
But Stowers is playing too well. I can't.
Yeah,
I
mean, you can't move on from. Is he? How's his splits? Let me see. Stowers' splits.
Well, he's also striking out 38% of.
So it's going to come down, but you're riding.
It's going to come down. He's got a 347 BABIP splits.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't play against lefties much.
That's perfect. Okay, so yeah,
he's crushing righties. His strikeout rate against lefties is 52%. And he's also not great defensively, but he's doing his thing for now.
Hey, but let him ride while he's cooking.
Yeah, he's going to be gone at some point. But Gunnar, Gunnar came out dominant in March and April. These WRC plus, and then May kind of
the rotten May, and then mediocre June.
Starting to bounce back in June, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean,
like
Hayes.
If they're in Stone's throw of average, 96, like I like they're gonna be fine. But that May was just horrendous, and that happens sometimes. And that happens in real life.
Exactly. Hayes, Westberg, both hitting well. Adley hasn't heated up at the plate, but he's still providing a lot of value behind the plate.
Yeah. I love him so much.
Hearn is probably on watch to be sent out for like a lefty bat to DH, like Kjerstad or Cowser.
Yeah.
Yeah. I brought this guy in, Michael Hermosillo. When is it Hermosillo? Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
No.
He's a cool guy. I like him. He's a video gamer. He used to play MLB The Show.
Oh,
or
nice.
Might still, but yeah, like real chill dude.
Cool. Brought him in when Mateo went down because I needed a righty bat that could play center field. I signed him as a minor league free agent and then called him up. He's not going to be around long. And then we got McCann. And then we get into the two unspeakably bad, like unplayably bad, Cedric Mullins with a 41 WRC plus in 231 plate appearances. Dude, like his defense has been good, but even with his defense, he's on pace for negative 0.7 WAR, dude.
That's nightmare. Like how's he not out yet? Is it because he can play center?
Yeah, because I don't have like.
I mean, 70 range is so good.
I mean, they've only got Cowser's only a 60 range.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. What's is your threshold 65?
Yeah, I think so. I think 65.
Okay, that's fair.
But honestly,
I stretch some 60s out there.
Mullins is so bad that I might become a 60 guy.
It might be time to be a 60 guy for a month or two just to see what's what.
I mean, Hermosillo's a 65, but he's not an everyday player. I'd rather rock Cowser at a 60.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then Holiday I just called up. It's only been 84 plate appearances, but a 7 WRC plus. Now the BABIP's only
single digit numbers are so funny to me. Yeah, with WRC plus, it's just like 7.
I mean, his walk and strikeout rates aren't insane. Like they're fine. But
yeah, it's all the BABIP. He's going to regress. Let me see his profile. What's he look like?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Yeah, it's just annoying. Let me see Mullins' profile real quick.
Yeah.
So somebody said, that he never pans out. Welcome to My Nightmare Production says, I've done many sims and Mullins always turns out terrible. Not sure why. I don't really know either because I've seen this like just kind of.
I don't see that.
Third message up from right now.
Fourth
message up.
Yep. Got it. Yep.
But usually this profile will eventually spike well, right? Because it's just flat down the middle. It's just like it's kind of a 50-50 shot if it's going to be good or not. Yeah. And I'm surprised that you've never. That just seems to be kind of like bad luck. Because this profile can absolutely, usually the defense carries it, and then you're going to spike some big hitting seasons eventually. But that's crazy that you've never gotten one. Yeah, I've seen him be like, I've seen him be an all-star like multi-years. I've seen him be garbage, and I've seen him be mostly fine, where the defense just makes sure that he plays center darn near every day.
Yeah.
Like this Kiermaier idea. Oh, he's already been moved.
Yeah. I couldn't afford his salary. First of all, he's making like 10. And I don't have much. Our budget is going way up next year. This year, it's kind of tight this year.
They need to start giving you some money.
He was making 10 mil. And I didn't know that he had been moved. Or no, actually, I did know he was moved, but it was on the 10th of April. So at that point, I was like, because he's a lefty bat.
Cut him.
Yeah, they cut him. Just out of here, man.
Oh my goodness. I mean,
And
that could
then,
happen to him in real life at some point too.
sure, I don't think
Like
it's
when
gonna
his
happen.
body goes.
I don't think it's gonna
No,
happen in the first half of April. But
no, not this. I don't think it's gonna happen this year. I just mean that like
yeah,
he could befall that fate could befall him at some point.
agree. So yeah, he was a lefty bat. And it was early April when that happened. And it was a week and a half, 2 weeks into the season, so I wasn't gonna be giving up Mullins for Kiermaier at that point. Now, if it happened like today, like in June, I'm starting to think about bringing him in and letting Cedric ride the pine for a while. But
by the way, we say not this year. His 34 plate appearances, we got a -17 OPS plus right now.
Kiermaier does in real life.
Yeah, maybe the game is prophetic here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess they would play Varsho in center. He can hang in center.
Yeah, Varsho could play center for sure. The funny thing is, he had 30 plate appearances and had a 167 WRC plus for Toronto. He came out and crushed the ball for 6 games. And they're like, actually,
with
dude,
4 extra base hits too.
We're gonna eat this $4 million.
Oh my God. Okay, that's annoying. That's annoying really that the computer did that. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if it's so those kind of moves are probably based. I don't know. Is that based off of the player evaluation? Probably. Like if I had more current year, like
yeah.
Is that only for trades or would that be for this too?
I would think it would be for that as well.
Yeah, I think so too.
So I think you're right. Like they're not going to overreact to that, which in general, we want them not to. Because we know that a year's stats, especially not even a full year, is fleeting. And that, if they only made decisions, well, and even if you bumped it up, like, sure, could you bump it up from 15? Yeah. But like, even if you put it up to like 25 or 30, there's still plenty of worlds where they get rid of him because they're just like, well, we see long-term that this is not going to hold. Because his profile is not even as good as Mullins. Mullins was green down the line and Kiermaier had 2 yellow slots.
Yeah. So and this is a change for me here. Like the default I think is like 60 here. And I can't remember what the rest is, but I actually normally bump this way down to like, I go like 45, 30, 25, I think. But I was reading some things on the forums where people said bumping the ratings weight up. Multiple people were like, yeah, that makes trading harder. So I'm giving that a try.
Sense.
I'm giving that a try.
That makes sense for the reasons that we're saying. Teams aren't going to overreact to. You can't buy low on somebody so easily because they're having a bad season. Because the team realizes this guy's talented as heck. We're not going to just give him away.
Right. So I think, yeah. So that's one of the things I'm doing with this sim is testing out that setting, a few other things to see what I think about it. The other thing, people might be interested. People have asked me about this, and I don't have any good answer for this question. The minor leagues, like how to set age limits and roster limits. I don't really have a good.
Yeah, I don't either. The minor leagues can frustrate me sometimes too, where, I don't need them all to like just always perform, right? That's not fun. But it seems like they never perform. Like my teams are garbage. The best I ever get is AAA and AA to be good. Because that's like my almost finished prospects and everything. The low minors are always pure garbage for me, and I don't understand it. And I feel like I lose out players to like their morale because they hate being there and stuff like that. And so I don't have a good answer on all that. I manage it. Like I like to get in there and set the teams and all that and promote the guys, but it's the performances I don't get too hung up on because they all seem to stink.
So I don't know why I went to A-ball, not rookie ball, but yeah, because there'll be like 27-year-olds in A-ball hitting like 16 home runs a game. So I started setting age limits. My A-ball, it's probably not even low enough. It's 23, which means when somebody turns 24, they've got to get out of A-ball, but also 4 years of pro service.
I think that's good.
So, and then high A, I'll just do one league. High A, I did a year older and 1 more year of service. So if you reach the max in A-ball, you've got 1 year in high A to get.
I think that's great
to get yourself to AA.
Yeah, and if not, then maybe you got to be cut, and so we'll start cutting that check.
And you're out of here. And then Eastern League AA. Let's see, what did I do? 27. So there can be some.
Fine. There can be some
quasi vets there. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some 27-year-olds down there these days that are down there for a bevy of reasons. Like that's not unreasonable.
Yeah, and then I don't have any age limit on AAA. I just have a roster size limit of 38.
I like that.
And then rookie ball, what did I do for
I got to remember to do this for my sim.
Rookie ball, 22 or 3 years of pro service.
I like
now,
that.
You know what I was thinking is going to mess this up?
What?
The 3 year, because when you sign an international free agent is like 16, like his pro service clock starts, right?
Not if they're in the complex, I think, right?
I think they do in this.
Oh, maybe they do. Okay, I would not speak authoritatively on that for sure. I would definitely not be comfortable
let's check that. I'm not 100% sure either. Is this guy accruing any pro service? No.
I don't think so.
Okay, so that's fine then, right? So do guys in the complex
what's below the time on the secondary? Because I can't see it because of the comment right now.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, time is a professional. So no, they're not. I think when they're in the IC, they're not. That's why you can leave them in there.
Yeah. But in real life, they are, right? Because a guy who signs when he's 16 is Rule 5 eligible and he's like 21 probably, right? Isn't that right?
I still think it depends when they start him in like organized ball.
Like complex league.
Yeah, like where you can actually see stats for it on Fangraphs or something. But I think they have complexes that are, kind of off the table there.
Okay.
But maybe not. Makes sense. I'm not 100% certain on that, but
You're more certain than I am. So
there's definitely guys that do get to be Rule 5, like the Foolish Baseball video about Elvis Luciano. Did you see that?
I did.
Yeah, he was Rule 5 so young.
That was crazy.
And that kind of messed with him a bit.
That was crazy. Yeah. Let's get back to that question real quick.
Yes.
Let me scroll up and find it here. Sorry, I haven't kept up with these comments very, but who among this latest wave of talented youth will get that first nine-figure extension? We're talking about the O's.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I want you to go first as the O's fan. I'm wearing the hat in respect to where I am.
Yeah, thank you. I meant to point that out earlier and acknowledge that, but I didn't.
No problem.
But I'm doing it now. So I would be, so let me say the least likely.
Okay.
I think the least likely is Jackson Holiday.
Okay.
He's a Boris player. His family already has generational wealth.
True.
Jackson Holiday could not earn another penny the rest of his life, and likely be fine.
Never feel anything for that.
Not even about his own signing bonus, which was probably close to $10 million. But his dad is
$100 million plus.
Yeah,
right?
In the top 1% of wealthiest people on the planet.
Yes.
So why
casual 160 mil casual.
Yeah. Why would he?
No, that passes the sniff test for me. Like I think that's. I couldn't agree more there for that exact, because a lot of times you're able to kind of get these deals because they know it is life-changing money, because $100 million, it can be a great deal for the team. You can be happy for the player too. That's still life-changing money to get when you are like under 23.
Yeah, and this is an interesting point that I hadn't thought of. William is a Jays fan. Basically the Vladdy Bo problem.
Yeah, where that money is not, the money alone, it's just not that enticing because they don't need it. And hey, that's just part of it. That's part of their leverage. Good for them. You know, and because like the Acuna deal, I got no problems with Ronald signing that. Sure, he could become like a multi-time MVP or whatever. The only one I've ever really had a problem with is I still don't understand the Albies one.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense at the time.
Agree.
It does, like nothing about it is like, how did you sell him that short? How did you only get $5 million a year for him? Now is $35 million still amazing money, and he can help his family if they need it? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, he's set for life, but still, yes. I feel you.
But like, how's that not at least 60 mil for 7 years?
Yeah,
I just don't understand.
Yep.
But yeah, you're right about Holiday. So where do you go then?
So, and I'm not saying there's zero chance Holiday would.
Sure, but it is the least likely.
Might. Yeah.
Maybe he just says, hey, I want to just lock up here and do my thing. And I will take a discount ish, you know, hometown discount because I don't need the money. You're right. So let me just stay here for this long,
True.
get a fair amount, you know. So yeah, you're not saying it's zero, but I agree with you putting it lowest.
I think Gunnar is also not too likely for a few reasons. One, it's always the Boris factor. Not that there are no Boris guys who sign. There are Boris guys who sign. You know, Altuve is a Boris guy, if I'm not wrong, if I'm not mistaken. Bogarts is a Boris guy, right, who signed for a little while in Boston. He eventually went to market, but he signed like a 6-year extension, I think, with Boston.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not that Boris guys never sign before they hit the market. There are some. But I also just think, I think Gunnar, and this is just like a feel kind of thing, right? I feel like I'm talking with my gut, which I don't like to do necessarily. But
well, I mean, there's no like quote unquote right way to analyze this.
He seems extremely confident in his own ability.
Sure.
He's not full of himself, but he seems like the kind of guy who you'd have to talk him out of betting on himself. You know,
absolutely.
I think they'd have to really overwhelm him to talk him out of betting on himself, being like, because I think there's a world where Henderson could become a superstar and become a $400 to $500 million player. I'm not saying it will, but that's within the realm of possibility.
Yeah, that's on the table.
He's going to bet on that. Like, I think he's the kind of guy who's going to bet on that.
That makes sense.
And quick note, I think it's ready now. I think you could, one more patch, but I think you could do it now.
I can't wait to get started.
Yeah.
I am like so eager to dive
I think
in.
I'll wait for the next
This
patch.
is hyping me up even more, by the way.
Glad to hear it. Adley, my question is, do the O's want to extend Adley? Like, how long do they want to extend a catcher who they have controllable through like his age 29 or age 30 season? I think he means a lot to the franchise, and he's kind of like a leader, and was like, he's like a cornerstone of the franchise, face of the franchise kind of guy. I could see them doing it with Adley, but I think it would keep by far the riskiest deal. What's that?
It would keep him there for life type of thing.
Yep.
And I think there's a world where it's not crazy expensive. Like, it's big money and everything, but it's not like, holy crap. And with the idea, that he can be a first baseman.
Yep.
Down the line, if he has to come off of catching or whatever. I could really see a deal with him, but I hear what you're saying about from, I guess, are you going to be facing this challenge if you do pick the O's? Do you sign Adley? I've seen him sim deep into a mid to late 30s career with that great defense, but that's an interesting thing. So then, now you're kind of off the beaten path on the foundational superstars. So now are you picking somebody that you think is kind of in that second tier that could be great, that you think is going to sign it?
Yeah, I think that, and I would say just about Adley, if they do it, he's not going to want to hit the market when he's like 31 to 34 or 5, right?
No, I think you got to get him to the mid 30s, and then if he still has juice, he can kind of figure it out from there.
Yep, he's not going to want to hit the market when he's post peak, but should still have some earning power,
Yeah, because that doesn't seem to be a good position to be in.
Yeah, no, he's going to want a contract that if it's his last big one, he'll be happy with it, but maybe he'll get another decent one.
Yeah.
But whereas like Holiday or Gunnar, I think you're only signing them so they're like 30, 29, 30, and
max.
They're hitting the market because they want to hit the market again at that age.
I think you want to come out on the right side of 30 as well, even if it's like 29, just because there's such mystique to that of like, it's on the right side of 30. That's extra 50 mil. So yeah, I think that's the longest you get them. Whereas you kind of finish the deal here with Adley and you make him the foundation, Joe Mauer, Yadier Molina type. Chat saying the same thing about Molina. Like, yeah, absolutely. That's the only kind of deal that he signs.
Yep.
So are you going Cowser?
Yeah. I mean, but then you get into it, right? I think it's, so I think
I've got a different answer that we haven't said yet.
Okay. I think, I don't think it'll be Cowser. If we're talking 9-figure,
okay.
Could Cowser get an extension? I think so. I don't think he's going to be.
They did say 9-figure, didn't they? Okay,
yeah.
Well, then now I'm very curious where you're going.
So I mean, I think there are two possibilities, right? One is somebody like Cowser or maybe Westbrook pops off and becomes an absolute star, right? Like so I mean, I had a sim where I simmed through 25, and in the 2025 season, Cowser put up a 9.1 WAR season, right? So if he does that, he's probably getting a 9-figure deal at some point. But
sure,
I mean, I think if I was betting, I would probably say Mayo or Basayo.
Wow, no, that's kind of fire.
Like not right now.
You're off the path. No, sure.
But I think in like 2 years, it could be Kobe Mayo or Basayo.
You're going second wave, and you're saying that's the first one to do it.
Look,
so they're skipping this crop.
I don't know if anybody in this crop lines up. I would love it. There's a world where they do both Gunnar and Adley.
The 100 milli piece is the tough part there. I was thinking just extension originally, and I was going to say.
And where were you going to go?
Kierstead.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think Cowser, Kierstead, Westberg, like. Why would you say? I think all those guys could be extension candidates, but maybe not 9 figures. Why do you think Kierstead?
Oh, I just think that they fully believe in him as an absolute monster hitter, and when they're ready to kind of like insert him into that lineup, just lock him up like a former number 2. Like, hey, he kind of stuck with you through thick and thin here because it got thin right there early. I think a lot of people forget that he was a number 2 pick.
Yeah, dude.
And so, I think kind of like once he comes up, boom, just lock you in for like 7-8 years real quick, and kind of just see what he can do as a monstrous hitter.
Yeah. Yep.
I really think we haven't seen anywhere near the best. I'm so glad he broke out last year. I think he's a monster hitter.
I'm glad that he's like back on track, because for those maybe who don't follow like the O's or prospects, like Kierstead had a couple different health issues. The main one was a heart issue after he was drafted. How did he miss 2 years or a year? I can't.
He missed, I think, just a year, but
but wasn't it the year?
It was 21. So it was right 21. After he was drafted, which was in 20. So that was already a disjointed year. Then he misses his first year of development.
Right.
Comes back in 22. And only plays 65 games. Didn't he break his shoulder?
He had a hamstring injury. He missed like the first 2 months, I think. Yeah.
So then has to go to fall league, where he did show out and then breaks out last year.
Yeah.
In a double AAA season where he's like back on track. Now he is 25.
Yeah. So he's older. Yeah.
Again, that's why, probably not the 9 figures.
Right.
Unless he just comes up and hits like 30 this year out of nowhere or some crap. But I'm thinking it could be like shortly after he comes up. Like they're just going to say, hey, we're going to lock you. We're going to get you I guess at his age, maybe they don't even need to, because it's going to, his service clock now is going to take him to like 31.
Yeah.
So maybe he doesn't even get like a regular extension, because the problem is he might already be a DH.
Right.
So maybe I'm just letting my love of his hitting go a little too hard. See, his power is very undersold there.
I agree.
Very undersold.
I agree. No, I think he's the kind of guy who they could extend if they can't match up on some of the big guys.
Just make sure that they keep some of these pieces.
Yeah, keep some of the talent around. I would love it if they signed Adley, and I think out of the big 3, Adley, Gunnar, Jackson, Adley's the most likely.
I think so too, and I think it's kind of that forever deal.
I think
Grayson is a good answer.
Yeah, I don't know if they're giving 9 figures to a pitcher.
But yeah, do they ever really give pitchers that early? Like you can't. You just can't bet on that.
I don't
Again,
know
if we're talking extension, I can hear that. But if we're talking that kind of extension, 9 figures, it has to be one of those top 3. And I think Adley makes the most sense. Even at his age, like catchers, so many of them, like these generational ones, they play well into their 30s. He's been healthy. It is weird though, like as young as the team is, like he's 26. He's not old by any stretch.
Yeah. No.
But he's a man. He's 26.
He's a man. He's not 40 though. He's not a man 40. Who's 40.
Not yet. But dude, I love Cowser. Cowser might be becoming one of my favorite players.
Yeah, and he's got an amazing beard.
That's a tremendous beard.
Great
Absolutely.
beard. Which I don't think he had last year. I think the beard game is new this year.
I think so too. I think he really grew it in. What's his profile look like for us?
Yeah. By the way, they said on the broadcast last night that Cowser is planning to put that into a Fu Manchu.
That's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah, he's gonna be. Yeah, it's gonna be 80. It's gonna be an 80 grade facial hair when he shakes that down.
There's just no doubt about it. I like Cowser here. He's looking good.
Yeah, I wish this range was 65. I do.
I mean, that would be so game changing. Did you see what Mick Cat said about what Kjerstad did?
Oh man!
I made a trade for Kjerstad.
How tall is he?
And Stowers at the start of my sim. Then Kjerstad retired 2 weeks later to play basketball. You know who did? Trying to guess. Okay, so a superstar retired. This didn't happen to me. It happened in a sim I was in, so it was funnier because it didn't happen to me.
Okay.
Premier superstar. Well, there's actually some debate about how much of a superstar he is. He's a superstar in talent in the American League, who is currently 25 or younger. In my sim, retired like a month into it to play basketball.
And he's currently a superstar.
He's currently like superstar adjacent at the very least.
Star quality player.
He's had a superstar season, but then there's people that say like, is he really a superstar? How good is he?
What division?
Yours.
Okay, the AL East. Was it Vlad?
Yeah. And it just cracked me up, the idea of Vlad going to play basketball.
I like that a lot.
He's not unfit,
but he's not basketball. He'd go
basketball.
He'd be a linebacker.
Exactly. Like I could see him suiting up in some pads and making some noise. Like I do think he's got some athleticism. He showed it at third when and he still shows it at first when he does some of these crazy jumps. Like
but he's not playing basketball.
Some range of motion, but basketball?
I mean, he's not even. Yeah, he'd have to be.
I don't see him dribbling. He's 6'2".
Listed. Is he 6'2"? Yeah.
Listed.
Yeah. Nope. Yeah. 6'2", 240 is not playing basketball.
I don't.
You're playing football for sure, though.
Yeah, because like, if you're 6'2", that's already short in basketball, which is hilarious.
So you want to see if I know we have ignored a bunch of questions that came in. If anybody wants to throw some at us rapid fire.
We're getting ones in there. I think we're doing
we've gotten some. We've gotten some. But are there any big ones we've missed? Just throw them in a guard. Yeah, but you can't be a guard at 240, can you? 6'2", 240?
Does he have that? I'm sure we could find like one of those physical specimens who is like, just chiseled. That is maybe 6'2",
240, yeah.
240,
a chiseled
yes.
240, sure.
We're talking about the rotund shape that he has. And again, not to fat shame or be nasty about it, just to be realistic about it.
Yeah.
We're just being honest here. We're not trying to be rude.
He's built like a linebacker.
Exactly. We're complimenting him to go play a different sport. Make no mistake about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was amazing. And it happened so early in the sim. And I was like, well, Toronto's screwed.
Derek has asked this a couple times. What made me an O's fan? I grew up right around Baltimore. That's the long and short of it for me. It was my team.
I mean, that's how I became a Detroit fan, right? You're born into certain teams.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Yankees, they pick up fans from elsewhere. These teams that don't have fun history, you're born into that pain.
Yep. I think I wonder if this generation of the O's, if they'll be good enough to bring in I have two nephews who are not O's fans who one got an Adley shirt and one got a Gunner shirt. They're huge baseball fans.
Yeah. See, they've got some really, really fun players.
And
I could see Jackson Holiday, I think this group can really kind of transcend to that Gen Z level. They're pretty cool too, I think.
So let me, he's offering to sign for 10 years, 49 million total. Oh, wow.
10 years, 49 million total. That is very always like for Ricky Tiedemann. I mean, it's a starter, so 10 years is always kind of dicey. But at 49 mil, I'm signing that all day.
I think I think I'd police myself and not sign it.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, in terms of like how valuable it is.
Oh,
but yes,
great deal.
If I'm trying to like, if I'm doing content, you know, that's an interesting topic that you bring up about policing yourselves. Like, when you're making content, and I'm not trying to pretend like we're like artists or whatever, but you're trying to do stuff that's like fun to watch, not just getting the best over on the computer all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Like, don't you feel kind of crappy if like you win the World Series the first year and you're an insta dynasty? Like, there was no grind. Like, that can be fun, but
no,
if there was no build up, that's why, like, with a rebuild specifically, if you start with a good team, of course, being successful early is name of the game. Like, if you do the O's this year, then you're going to want success right away, and it's going to be how are you going to massage this into a championship window. But when we're doing a classic rebuild of a team that stinks, if they have a ton of success the first year, I'm like, that was too easy. no. There has to be a struggle. So that goes to your point about like signing a 10-year, $49 million deal, which is not to say anything of the person that chatted it. Like, we're not telling you how to play your Sims. We're just saying from our standpoint, if we're creating content, we try to put some barriers to make sure that we don't rip the computer too hard.
I already decided with Gunner, the floor for an extension, if I were to do it, is the Bobby Witt extension.
I love that.
I won't give him less than that. He's asking for less than that right now, but I won't sign him. The minimum I'll do is the Witt extension.
I love that. I think another person who does a great job guardrailing themselves is Old School Sports.
Yeah, which like, he was here last week. Not sure if he's here today, but Old School Sports puts out really amazing regular content. And it's awesome and it's regular. And it's really I enjoy watching it a lot.
Yeah, because he really puts up guardrails because he wants to create, really compelling content with things, not just cook the computer.
Right.
And again, if your goal is to just win, do that. This is not a slight on anybody. It's just what's going to look better in a video versus what do you want to do for fun when you're just blasting the computer.
So here, this is we can answer this one. So Adam, the way you edit views, so like, oops, that's not where I wanted to go. So say you're talking about these views here.
Oh, can I link my YouTube video that goes over all this?
Yeah, dude, throw yours.
Okay.
Yeah, wait, why didn't we like? I mean, you know what? We didn't do like any introduction of you at the beginning.
Oh, that's okay. People know.
Because everybody
that sounds
knows
so arrogant, by the way, that I'm not trying to say that. I say like I'm everywhere. I'm so annoying that like people are like, God, we know who this clown is.
No, we know who he is. He's Paul Sporer of Fangraphs, and Twitch and Out of the Park. So everybody knows who Paul is. We just hopped right into it. We were mid conversation and just hit live and continued the conversation.
Correct. We're like, why are we wasting the convo on the background? Like, why don't we get into it?
Yeah. So this view here, like this hitter view here, how did I get that over the default? So if you go to batting stats and you go to edit and you can do add stat row and it gives you a new row. And then you go edit stat row. And then you say, I want my stat row to be games and hits. And you say, okay. And then to get it be your main view, you have to move it up to the top. Okay. So you hit okay. And now the only
sick, dude.
Yeah, dude. Games and hits.
That's what I want to know. How many freaking games did you play, dude? And how many hits did you get? I don't need any other bullshit.
Yeah. And for pitchers, I do games and wins. That's it.
Obviously.
Just win, baby.
How many dubs did you get? I don't want to hear about your strikeouts and your lack of walks, loser. Did you get the dub or not?
The will to win. Is it strong with you or not? Yeah.
T-dub. That's all we're talking about here.
It's the only thing that matters. Just win, baby.
How often do you like go back into Sims, like transfer them over to the newest game and like want to dig into them? Have you ever thought about like reanimating an old Sim? And kind of learning it back from well, I don't know what your retention is. Maybe you remember everything, but like I'm pulling up my old okay, good. Because I'm pulling up my old Expo series, which was, if I may say so myself, awesome. It was my favorite one. It was on my Twitch. We had Edwin Diaz. We played the song all the time on Twitch, the song that he comes out to. I had a blast with that series. But now I look at it and I know like 4 players that are still on the team. I'm like, who? We have Bobby Witt Jr. Sweet. When did we do that? But do you ever reanimate a series? And am I giving you an idea maybe to do that as a short series?
I will say I've never done it. I've never imported a version from like 24 to 25.
I do it every year just to have them. Yeah, I know. That's cool. And I'll like go into them and I'll be like, I'll reminisce. I'm like, damn, yeah, I remember that. Okay, cool. Because one thing I don't do enough, and I'm gonna fix that this year, I never play it through to the end to see the players that made the Hall of Fame. Like to try to sim 10, 15 years into the future. Mine just kind of die out because time and I got busy with the OOTP perfect team stuff and fantasy in February. So the Tiger series just kind of after we won the World Series.
You get busy with the Sleeper and the Bus podcast?
Yeah, exactly. And my writing and then doing the content.
You're writing on fangraphs.com.
Correct. So I'm writing on fangraphs.com. Tony Two Taters just went yard. Santander went yard.
Why am I on commercial break?
Oh, sorry. Am I way ahead of you or way behind you? No, I'm live.
I might be frozen.
Sorry,
hold on.
Sorry to spoil.
I don't care. I'm like not really watching it too much.
No, William, my biggest regret about the Expo series is I didn't save the VODs. I'm not a smart person.
Yeah, I'm still showing commercial break here. Oh, wait. Hold on. This very legal website that I'm watching it on did freeze.
Do you have T-Mobile or know anyone who does? You can get it for free.
I could get the O's for free.
Are you local?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a busted system, by the way.
It's so dumb. It's so like dumb.
Beyond stupid. This is back in the day when they first started advertising it. Oh, you're too kind. Thank you for posting my Patreon. When they used to advertise at bat, they were sketchy about telling you that you were going to be blacked out. Because I remember getting it, and I lived in Texas, so I wanted to get it for Detroit, and it always worked for me. But I told one of my friends, I was like, I got this new thing called MLB at bat, dude. It's the sickest thing. I watch every Tigers game. I can be at the mall, and if the service can pick up, this was before service was pretty good everywhere, and you could actually stream video.
Yeah,
you kind of had to be on Wi-Fi. But I'd be like, yeah, if there's Wi-Fi, then I can get it. But even if not, just oversell, I can get radio. And so I tell him about it. He buys it, and he's like, all I ever get is the radio feeds. I already have that because it's local radio. I was like, I didn't know, dude. They would not tell you that you were blacked out. Like, they might have it in like 1-point font, but they were really sketchy about how they advertised it and not telling people that it was out of market games. And even that, like, I know that's a clear and direct phrase, but not everybody understands what that means.
I agree.
They might just think you mean road games. I can still watch the O's when they go to LA. Cool. But no, it obviously means you can't get any Nats or O's games, which is so stupid.
And the O's are especially brutal because Masson has never been on anything but a standard cable package.
I was just about to ask that.
Yeah, because as of this year, they're on Fubo.
Just about to recommend Fubo for this exact reason.
But dude, the package with the O's package, the package you have to get Masson is like $94 a month.
Well, I was already paying that for YouTube. I was paying more. So to me, I actually got a discount.
YouTube TV is like 72 or something.
Not with what I was paying for.
Oh, okay.
I'm down. I'm plus. You're down with $20. Yeah. So I'm really high.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I couldn't get MLB Network on YouTube anymore, which I really enjoy watching.
True. Does Fubo have it?
It has MLB Network, and it has both the Rangers and Astros RSNs, which I've never had.
And even with you're blacked out of both.
Yes, and so now I don't have to do anything untoward to watch those games. And I like both those teams. Like, I'm a Tigers fan, but I love watching two good quality teams. Obviously, I love baseball. So to me, it was $90 was fine. Like, I understand, everyone's got different entertainment budgets, but
it's just more than I'm paying now.
Yeah, see, you're going up. I was coming down. So you're telling me I'm getting money back and I get the 3 channels that like I would dream for, especially MLB. I just want to be able to watch. I like MLB. I like the morning show and I like the Brian Kenny show.
Yep.
And so for that and the 2 Texas RSNs, and I save $20 a month, sign me up.
Yeah, done deal.
So I did that. But I understand that if you're paying more just to get it, you're like, come on.
If I was having trouble getting the games, I would do Fubo in a second. But I'm not having trouble getting the games.
Understand.
Yeah. I would gladly pay $90 a month if it was the only avenue. Did you know Bally for Detroit, you can buy just like a Bally package now?
Yes, there's like a handful of markets where you can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize that the Tigers were one. My father-in-law is my wife's family is all from Michigan. My wife grew up there.
I watched your series. I know.
Yeah. But my father-in-law was here today and he was saying that they bought the package. I think it's the first year it's been available for Bally for the Tigers.
There's like 5 Bally's teams that allow you to actually just get a package for your teams, which is pretty cool.
I hope Masson moves that way with the new ownership.
I hope that they become more team play, community friendly, fan friendly is the phrase I was actually
and I think they will. I don't know if it'll apply to Masson, but I think they will become more fan friendly.
It's the perfect time too, with everything just about to pop off. I mean, what a brilliant time for them to buy. Anyway, I've derailed this a million times. Let's keep going through because we haven't even looked at the pitching yet, and I'm very curious what the pitching's doing for your ball club. Is Bradish healthy for you? Oh, yes, he is.
Is who?
Bradish, a guy I love.
Yeah,
I'm so
he's back.
He's
back. He's healthy. He's what do you want me to sort by here? What do you like?
I just go by innings usually with pitchers.
Let's do it. Corbin's been shaky, man.
He's bumpy.
Let me show you his game log, dude. He's had some duds.
Well, honestly, that makes me feel better then. Oh, look, so he started like trash.
5 runs, 5 runs, 5 runs. Didn't even make it out of the 5th in any of these starts.
That's brutal. And then had another one 3 starts later.
And then he went on a run. Then he's
had one other blip since then. Okay, so he's really set. Oh, like 2 other blips. Okay, so when he gets beat, he gets cooked. But you know what? I take this guy. I'm not sucking up to him. I'm respecting where I am, Michael, with my O's hat. I'm not sucking up. This is called respect. But I much prefer a guy like this. 3 gems and a dud, 3 gems and a dud, as opposed to like 4 mediocre starts. They're just always kind of like,
Agree.
3 to 5 runs, whatever, in 3 to 6 innings type deal. So I'm still fine with that, but that is a little shaky. Looks like Bradish been a god.
Bradish has been a stud since he came back. Now the FIP, like we're riding high here, and this 2.76 ERA was after a 5-run 3 2/3. He was.
Oh my god, he was at
1. He was at 0.87 after 4 starts. ERA.
Oh my god, Pat mostly sims. I can answer for him. I think unless you play offline, but you mostly sim games, right?
Yeah, no, I sometimes play postseason. That's
what I do. I love playing out the postseason. Those are some of my favorite streams. Is playing through a postseason, especially like when it goes long, like when we actually make a run.
Yeah, for sure. Grayson's been a beast. Look at this.
Are amazing. Yeah, Grayson's a god.
Yeah, he's doing things. I don't know. Cole Irvin's putting up
out here.
2.72 ERA in 53 innings.
I mean, look at that control.
Yeah, dude.
He's keeping the ball in the park too. 1.0 homers for him is amazing.
Yeah.
Because he's usually a home run machine.
Yep. He also got roughed up last time out. His ERA ballooned from 2.01 to 2.72.
That's crazy.
I mean, we're in June and he's sub 3. I'll take that all day.
All day. I mean, you would take anything sub 5, really.
Sub 5, right?
John Means
is back and he's been okay. Yeah, he's been okay.
He's got better indicators too.
Yeah. Yeah, his FIP is a little better, but I mean 6.5 Ks per 9. And I know, trust me, I have the strikeout to walk percentage here. I prefer strikeout percentage and walk percentage.
Yes.
But I keep these because my mind just I know them like that. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like
then go with what you know, right?
But I know that strikeout and walk percentage are better stats, right?
They're just more precise, but you're not going to be led terribly astray with the per nines. And if you better judge looking at a 6.5% than a 19%, then go with what you know. Absolutely. I always advocate for percentages, but if you know K9 and BB9 by the back of your hand, keep those in. Keep the things that help you manage the best. There's nothing wrong with them. Like, you're not going to be completely misled if you're following those.
No, I agree. But yeah, I learned them a long time ago. I think they were kind of the thing before strikeout and walk percentage. And honestly, I just haven't been able to switch it in my mind.
Yeah, it took a few years for me too. I would always look up, I'm like, okay, 22%, what's that looking like? Until I finally learned it, and then it became the norm for me. But I totally vibe with that.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks for your understanding.
No, easy. No problem at all. I can look at K9 and have full idea of what I'm looking at and feel good about it.
Dean Kramer lost his job in the rotation when Bradish came back. He was bad. He hasn't been good in the bullpen. Tyler Wells was so bad he's down in AAA.
Has he been a home run machine? Yeah.
Yeah, he was giving up 2.7.
You can't live with that. You just
6.95 ERA, a 6.33 FIP. That extreme fly ball was just killing him. Back end of my bullpen, just like ERA wise, like look at Kimbrel, Coulomb, and Cano. Like
that's filthy. Are they putting up skills? You say ERA wise, I wonder if you're worried about their skills.
I mean, it's not bad.
Oh yeah, no, 23% strikeout minus walk is bananas.
He's right there. Yeah,
we take that all day.
Coulomb, yeah,
24%. That's killer. Yeah, they are backing this up. Speaking of Coulomb, he just gave up an IRL bomb. Connor.
Oh no, they tied it up.
Yeah. Damn, in the bottom of the 8th with 2 outs. That's tough.
Who hit it? Who is that?
Connor Wong. Their catcher.
Connor
he got some pop.
Wong?
I mean, it's always tough to give up to a bottom of the order hitter, but he got some pop.
He does, but let's not let Connor Wong tie the game in the 8th inning. Come on.
I mean, fair enough. You got to get Connor Wong out if you're Danny Coulomb for sure. Yeah. But that's righty against the lefty. That he's a pretty strong platoon guy. Well, both of them. Connor Wong, I think, hits lefties really well, and Coulomb really struggles against righties.
What a bummer.
But yeah, this team's looking great.
Yeah, rest of the bullpen's been all right.
I got no problem with what Webb and Perez are doing.
Yeah, they're fine.
Aiken's still missing bats. 9.3 K9. Strikeout per inning is not bad.
Yeah, and his FIP's over a run lower than his ERA. Like he's all right.
So did you see this message here from William McQuaid about the Sierra? Like I love Sierra in real life. I've heard the same thing about OOTP Sierra being sus. William, can you expound on that at all in terms of like what flaws you see? If you can, I kind of pinpoint some of the flaws. I can definitely ask the devs, like, do we need to reassess our Sierra? Because I like it too, but I've heard it's not very trustworthy from people who do like data modeling for the perfect team game.
I've heard the same, and I don't use it as much in this. I keep it up there on my screen, but I don't use it like I would in real life, I guess,
Same. I give it less credence than I do in real life, because it's kind of my go-to ERA indicator in real life. But in game, I think I still have it up, but I don't really trust it.
And I can say the answer to this question is yes. I don't know if the park factors are, the park factors are better. Like, I don't know if it's exactly right. It's probably still too homer friendly, but you can see home runs for righties are 0.97, which they used to be like 1.2 or something.
Yeah. Absurd. So how far is the wall supposed to be?
So the left field, this is all right, I think.
Okay. Well, in the game, aren't the dimensions just aesthetic anyway? But so that's why you have to do the park factors.
That's right. That's right.
So even if the wall is wrong, I think that's what you're saying, is that even if the wall is wrong, the 0.97 park factor is, way more in line with where it needs to be, which is so crazy. I talk about this on my pod all the time, but it is so weird now saying that Camden is a good pitcher's park for like home run hitters to kind of, home run allowers to like stream in for fantasy. Because growing up, like that's where you take a mediocre power hitter, and if they play the summer, like Mark Trumbo, I mean, he wasn't a mediocre power hitter. He's a mediocre overall hitter, but a great power hitter. Put him in Camden, and that's just a dream come true. And now poor Ryan Mountcastle can only hit like 18 homers a year, and he has like 7 stolen by that wall, dude. I feel so bad for that guy.
I know. Here's William's answer about the Sierra question you had.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, since the pitcher does, since the game. Actually, it does know though. Maybe it could better utilize that we have exit velos, right?
But isn't that just cosmetic though?
They are. But could they not use those? Would it be? I guess it'd be a problem then if they're using those cosmetics. But like, if that's the makeup of their hits.
Oh yeah, here's what. Yeah.
Yeah, he's saying the EV and the home run distance are just cosmetic.
Yeah.
Okay, well then we don't need to use Sierra. I might even take it off then, just so it's not even in my head.
And Derek was asking about Sierra. Paul, you can tell me if I get this wrong, but so basically you've got ERA, right? And then after ERA, you've got FIP, which FIP just does not consider batted balls event. It's strikeout, walks, and home runs. Doesn't consider balls in play. So
correct.
Sorry. It's strikeout, walks, and home runs. But Sierra does incorporate balls in play.
I think that's exactly. It's another ERA indicator,
FIP, right? Yeah, ERA indicator.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's called skill interactive ERA. So it tries to do a bit more. It acknowledges the complications of balls in play instead of just fully ignoring them.
Right, which is what FIP is like an ERA indicator that ignores balls in play.
And then with the idea that it was based off like Forrest McCracken's DIPS, which is defensive independent pitching, and it just says like, you know, everyone's going to kind of balance out there. And then XFIP neutralizes home run rate if you believe that like somebody's home run rate is running hot. Like we see that a lot right now. Guys that have like 25% homer to fly ball rates, that's not going to last unless they're Tyler Wells or Bailey Ober, unfortunately. But yeah, so I think you explained it right there. Yeah, or pitching in Cincinnati. But like as a shorthand, I think you explained it very well. And like I always say, you can use FIP, you can use Sierra. I'm talking now on like Fangraphs in real life, because right now we're saying maybe don't use Sierra in the game. You're not going to be that far off. It's similar to the K9 strikeout rate thing, or OPS plus, WRC plus. Like you're already on the right track using those next level stats. There aren't really ones that are going to greatly mislead you in the ERA indicator realm, as far as I've run into. Like you're going to be on a pretty decent track, and then you can kind of get into the minutia of it and say, well, this one's a little bit better at this and then that. So yeah, even if you're using FIP or whatever, that's fine. It's getting you on a good track.
I agree.
Here's a definition on BABIP that will give
I don't
some
think
more
Sierra
answers.
Considers BABIP. I don't.
Correct.
I think it's a type of batted ball, right?
Yes.
Okay. Pretty sure.
So I'll read this. Balls in play are complicated. In general, ground balls go for hits more often than fly balls, although they don't result in extra base hits as often. But the higher a pitcher's ground ball rate is, the easier it is for their defense to turn those ground balls into outs. In other words, a pitcher with a 55% ground ball rate will have a lower BABIP on grounders than a pitcher with a 45% ground ball rate. And if the pitcher walks a large number of batters and also has a high ground ball rate, their double play rate will also be higher. Also for fly balls, pitchers with a high fly ball rate will have lower home run per fly ball rate than other pitchers. So their homer to fly ball might look, superficially good, but they live with the ball in the air, so they're going to allow more homers. Boom. So yeah, that's a whole rundown of Sierra that I gave there on Fangraphs that you guys can read more about to really get into the minutia of them. It's just another ERA indicator that I think, does a pretty good job of not really leading me astray when I'm analyzing pitchers, right? Is it perfect? I don't think so. No, I never use any one stat as a smoking gun. Like this is the end all be all, not even WAR. They're not meant for that. Like you should be taking everything in concert. That's why, you can cite multiple ERA indicators and it can kind of explain a player's profile more. Oh, he's got a great Sierra, but he doesn't have a great FIP. Okay. Well, then he's got he doesn't have great core skills. Maybe he has some good contact management. Maybe he has a heavy ground ball guy type of deal. Or he's got a great FIP, but, his Sierra isn't as good, or XFIP isn't as good. Got great strikeout walk, but that's kind of what he lives with.
Yeah, and Fangraphs is a good shout out. I remember when I was getting into all these stats, it was probably when I went heavily into baseball stats, like the sabermetric stats. I probably didn't really dig into them until post 2010 sometime.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe 11 or 12. And I was just going to Fangraphs all the time. I would just Google a stat and put Fangraphs in the search. I just, OPS plus Fangraphs.
Exactly. I want to learn what these are.
And there were, Fangraphs was my main resource. I read a couple decent books too, but Fangraphs was the main resource for me.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I love working there. Obviously, they're great. Doing the fantasy stuff over there is awesome. And, the stats are great. always take it at your own pace though, too. If you're learning stats, like a lot of it can be overwhelming if you're trying to learn everything all at once type of deal. But if you just kind of take it at your own pace of, you know, what you want to learn about, do what Pat does, put the stat in, and then Fangraphs, or just Google it straight up to learn more about it. And, you know, don't worry about how quickly you learn the stuff. Is it worth the money? I mean, it's worth the money for one thing. Like this thing alone makes it worth the money for me, which is dark mode. I mean, I don't like websites with light mode.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. Let me tell you how I frame questions like this. I don't think like, is premium Fangraphs worth the upgrade over regular Fangraphs? I think, is this a website that I want to support financially? Like, do I want to support the writers, etc.? And so for me with that, like, I don't really care, like what the, and so Michael, like, I don't remember the exact differences between them. Like dark mode, no ads. I think there's some features you can do, but like subscriptions.
That's not why you're doing it.
Yeah. And same with like Paul's Patreon. Like, to be honest, like, I've never been to the Sleeper in the Bus Patreon page to see if you like to see posts and all that. I just do it to like support the thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I do it.
No, I totally get that too. And there are things where I'm like, I want to support this because I like the content, and it is worth it to me, regardless of what extra features I get. Now, some people are feature driven, and I understand that. And so that's why we do try to have some things that are better. But
for sure,
sometimes it's like, okay, I'm reading this every day. I'm all about this. I keep coming to this website. I want to support. So I keep my subscription to it or whatever.
And I will say, you know, I put it, William said this how he feels about my Patreon, but I would say go support Paul's, like, and support Fangraphs. Like, I do this for fun, right? Like, I you know, this is for people who do it for a living. Like, go support them. Like, go support the Sleeper in the Bus Patreon. Go support Fangraphs. Like, I try to think, like, if this thing went away, would I be like, man, I wish I'd supported it? That's like my threshold, right? Like, if Fangraphs went away, like, I'd be like, shoot, man, like, what?
And having lost some sites in the past brings that home too, where you're just like, man, you know, you could say what you want about him these days, but Bill Simmons' Grantland, man, I freaking loved that website. I lived on that shit, dude.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, I think about it like that, you know, where it's like, man, I wish I, you know, didn't lose that. And there's other much smaller sites too that, you know, you wish had been around. So no, I really appreciate you saying that, right? Like, obviously the subscriptions, that is going to be helping pay my salary over there, which, you know, they pay me a pretty fair wage to talk about baseball and write about baseball. Like, I am unbelievably lucky. Believe me, I'm fully aware of it. And it's pretty cool. Like, sometimes, sure, it doesn't get like kind of stressful because I got a lot of things I got to do or whatever, but the stress is within reason, right? Because it's still all just baseball. And that's pretty amazing to pay my bills, keep a roof over my head, keep gas in my car, keep my dogs, my girlfriend, and myself fed from baseball. That's crazy.
It's pretty cool. So
it's pretty dope.
Help Paul feed his dog and go support Fangraphs or his Patreon. So Michael. So and I don't mean that to like poop on saying like premium features aren't, like, you shouldn't consider them. I'm just saying, like, I don't necessarily consider that, so I'm not sure.
Exactly. No, I think that's a totally fair answer, because your motivations are different. Again, some people are gonna be like, well, what am I gonna get for it? I like to support, but, you know, is there anything that comes with it? And again, we try to have some cool stuff there. For me, the dark mode, huge seller. If you ever if you ever do like data analysis and you want to do exports and whatnot, I think now you have to be a subscriber to get those. Those are super valuable. Obviously, I do those for my day job, so I'm not judging the same way as somebody who just reads casually or whatever, or listens to some pods. But yeah, whatever y'all decide there, I don't ever.
It's worth it to me just for ad free.
Same. There's a lot of ads.
Ad free is a good thing.
I'm all about that ad free life. Like, I have YouTube Premium. My peasant girlfriend does not. I love to make fun of her. Anytime we watch a YouTube video on her phone, I'm like, what is this garbage?
What is this? An advertisement?
What is this? An advertisement? I don't think so. I don't watch those.
Yeah. All right. Hey, I should wrap it up soon and go watch the end of the O's game and like do stuff so I can go to bed by a decent hour since I have 2 kids that are gonna be up at 7 a.m.
Don't have that. I mean, I do have I'm one of those people that considers my dog kids, but not to the same degree of having actual kids. Believe me, I understand that there's a vast difference.
Dude, I'm not one of those people who would say you have no idea. Like there are things similar to having a dog that's like having a kid.
Yeah, like again, I think the people that maybe go too far with it, you're like, okay, you can tone them down, but you know, they're what I've got a reasonable.
Actually, I'm very anti those people who are like, you could never understand my life because you don't have kids. I find that shit to be so obnoxious.
Right?
You could Paul, you could understand it because 1, you have a dog, and 2, you're a human being with an imagination. You know what it's like. Yeah. You can imagine what it's like.
And I've watched, you know, my mom be a parent, my sister be a parent. You know, I watched other people be parents. Like maybe I haven't lived through it, but yeah, I have an imagination where I try to think and empathize and respect people that do that.
My whole motivation I just don't like the people that having kids, Paul. The only reason I did is the only reason I had 2 kids is so I could tell people who are like that, like, no, I do know what your life is like. It's the only reason, because I was sick of them telling me I could never imagine it.
Now I can imagine it. It seems like you oversold the difficulty of it. Maybe it's a you problem. Yeah. If you didn't want to have kids, if it's this trying, why did you do it? This was a voluntary thing.
Yeah.
You set out to do this.
Yeah. Like this.
I respect parents. It is not an easy job. But I'm with you on those folks that are just like, you never know how hard it is. Like,
time? I don't have time. Sleep.
Yeah, I'm a parent. Okay, well, it sounds like you hate it. So why'd you do it?
Yeah. Anyways,
I'm glad you don't though. So yes, get back to your kids. It's amazing talking with you. Can you give us an idea here? So after the next patch, we should expect some info on team selections shortly thereafter.
I think so. But then I normally will want to, for sure. But I probably want to have videos up for like a couple weeks after the next patch.
I know, because you are very smart about.
I like to record
getting the bunch. Yes.
Yeah, I like to.
But then I can't tell you what's wrong with every video, and you fix it. So all the name pronunciations are going to be like 6 episods behind
6
when I
months,
correct you.
Yeah. Oh, he said. Yeah, he called him. He called him Gunnar Henderson again.
That's one thing I love about Old School Sports every day. Yeah, we get a fix for him in the comments about a pronunciation. He's on that the next day. Pat's like, "Oh, I just read your comment." I'm like, "I wrote that 6 months ago. What the heck?" But no, that's so smart to do that, dude. It makes it so much like more consistent, and that's why your Sims are better, and that's why your Sims are the best in the community. There's a lot of great ones, but yours are the best, brother.
That's too nice of you to say. I think there's plenty of people who could claim that. But I'll record ahead again, so it'll probably be like a month before I have like a video out on it, you know.
But are you still gonna do small stuff?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Still doing stuff.
What suggestion did I suggest? Well, reanimate one of your old Sims.
Oh yeah, I'd have to move. The only one I have is last year, the Tigers. I don't remember anything about it. I do not remember. I remember Riley Green was really good and Luke Leto was really good. That's what I remember.
I remember Luke Leto popping off. I knew Green was good too, but Luke Leto was kind of out of nowhere, just monster. Yeah. Again, the beauty. I'm glad that you feel that way too, though, where you don't remember, because like I look back and I'm like, I knew like 3 players off this team. But anyway, we don't need to derail on that. Thank you so much for having me on, Pat. It was great talking.
This was awesome, man. Thanks for doing it. Thanks everybody for hanging out. We'll see you.